welcome, ladies. Welcome to our Saturday afternoon webinar on building our business while maintaining our sanity. And I know there's a lot of interest in this type of topic, right? I mean, a lot of women are like, oh my gosh, that is so how I feel. I just feel overwhelmed in my business. So just real quick, I know that a number of folks who signed up for this webinar are already part of our community, but I know that we also had a ton of women who are outside of our community who myself and Six Figure Success Habits is new for you. So you may be thinking, who is this Claire character? So just real quick, I have a couple of things in my background. One of the things that I take from my career experience or my corporate experience is I have 15-plus years in corporate training, in corporate coaching, in corporate human resources, worked for some large pharmaceutical companies, worked up in Manhattan, and then for the last 15 years been down here in sunny Raleigh, North Carolina. I actually got my master's degree down here at NC State in adult training and coaching. And I also was a Mary Kay sales director, so I had a whole unit of women who I was responsible for encouraging and motivating and training them and giving them the skills they needed to have successful businesses. And I coupled all of that with some life experiences that ended up being some of the biggest blessings in my life. And right when my son was born, he's 7 years old now. He was just about 3 months old at the time that I was diagnosed with a very advanced breast cancer. You know, it already spread all through my lymphatic system, so it was a very, intense year and a half of mastectomy and tons of chemotherapy and radiation and, learning to love my new bald self and really, again, not having the greatest odds of living past 5 years just because of the unique type of cancer it was and because of how aggressive it was and how advanced it was. That really did give me the best life blessing ever. I mean, I, at such a young age, have really, truly, we all know that life is precious, right? But it gave me this burning desire to grow into the wife, the mom, and the woman that I want to be, that Christian wife, mom, and woman that I want to be. And at the time, being in corporate for so long, knowing that my husband's a teacher, and I love that he's a teacher. I love it, wanted to be a teacher forever. But those of you, any of you living in North Carolina especially, know that teachers, they do not get paid very much. He hasn't received an increase like in the last 6 years. And so I knew that in order for me to be that wife and that mom that I saw myself being, that friend and that daughter where evenings was not a rush. I wasn't working this 9 to 6 job and coming home and it was just a rush and a flurry of getting dinner ready and homework time. And I knew that I didn't want that, but I also knew that we wouldn't be able to rely on my husband's salary. It just wasn't a reality. So I knew that in order to become this person that I envisioned, that I would need a significant income. Again, teachers do not make very much, so I'm not talking about an extra, $500 or $1,000 a month. I needed a significant income. I was the breadwinner when I was in corporate. And I know that there's other folks out there like that, right? There's other women and moms who want to do the same thing, who want to get back in the house, who want to get back in the home, who want to have that time to enjoy life and to grow into the person they want to be, but who also need to make a significant income. So that whole experience truly has brought me to this point where I've dedicated my life to helping other women do the same. And my differentiating factor, and there's lots of business coaches out there, my differentiating factor is to simplify the entire A through Z of running a business, the whole kit and caboodle. And I really focus on our habits, right, on replacing our unproductive work habits with new six-figure success habits. And I also focus on breathing belief into you. I believe deep in the core that your seed of desire for this business was planted deep in your heart for a reason, and that with focus and discipline, you can absolutely do it. So that's what I like to provide with my clients. I know some of the slides on the right-hand side might be a bit cut off because I'm leaving the chat function open just to see if there's any questions, but ultimately what it says is that my clients say that I give them that friendly kick in the skirt, being like, let's get these things up and running in your business while giving a whole bunch of grace. That's really who I am, who I help, and how I help them. So real quickly, The reason I put together this webinar is because I know that many women feel like this lady on the right-hand side. So ask yourself, are you struggling with some of these things? I mean, are you feeling guilty when you're with your family because you feel like you should be working? Do you feel guilty when you're working because you feel like you should be with your family? Or are you waking up with those 2 a.m. sweats in the middle of the night being like, oh, my gosh, I forgot to do such and such. Or, oh, my gosh, I have so much on my plate, I feel overwhelmed and my mind is spinning. Or, oh, my gosh, am I going to have enough money to pay the bills? Are you feeling like a chicken with her head cut off? Is that how you're feeling? And if so, if you're like, yes, 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 amen, that's exactly how I feel, please know that you're in very good company. So many women are like this. And it's not an easy fix, but it's fixable. It doesn't need to be like this at all. So it really focuses on identifying, okay, how can things be different? What are those ways for me to run my business day in and day out, those success habits, so that I don't need to feel like this, that instead I can feel like, gosh, I have a business that is profitable, productive, enjoyable. I have a peaceful sense about it. When I'm with my family, I'm enjoying being with my family. When I'm working, I'm working. I'm getting it done. I'm being super focused and productive. So please know that it's absolutely possible. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, and these are the things that were on the sign-in page when you signed in for your free spot this webinar. We're going to talk about my top 5 success habits to increase your productivity, profitability, and sense of peace that aren't even going to be your typical time management habits. So we're going to start there because there's so much to the other aspects of running our business that completely overlap with us feeling overwhelmed, feeling like we don't have enough time to get it all done. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how some simple structure within your schedule can actually give you the freedom that you crave. And it may seem counterintuitive, you're right? You're like, Claire, I created my own business so I can have that freedom. What do you mean structure? I don't want structure. If I wanted structure, I'd go, work a 9 to 5. So let's talk about that. I also want to share with you a calendaring technique that I live by that can easily save you 5 hours a week. Absolutely. And also want to talk about overall just how do you get more done in less time? How do you get more done so that you have more time off, more time to enjoy life, more time to be present with life, focus wherever you're at and feeling like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be, and you've got time to enjoy and stop and smell the roses and whatever it may be that you want to enjoy life more for, whether it's time with family, whether it's visiting with friends and family, whether it's vacationing and seeing the world, whether it's just time for you to relax and read or meditate or yoga, whatever it may be. Let's figure out how to do your job, build your business while also completely maintaining your sanity and being able to carve out more and more time for you to enjoy life. All right. So the 5 success habits, I'm actually, in my curriculum, I walk folks through 30 success habits. And I've actually picked out just a couple where, let me move this on up here. Actually, let me just minimize this right-hand side for a second so that you can see. And I'll check from time to time just to see if there's any chatting. Please feel free to chat any questions that you've got throughout so you don't have to wait to the end. Again, I will open that box back up and see what your questions are. I just want to minimize it just so that you can see the entire slide. But again, I walk folks through 30 essential success habits. The very first success habit is to create a yearly success vision. And when you get in the habit of doing this year in and year out, it is absolutely going to help you be more profitable, productive, and peaceful. And what essentially it is that at the beginning of the year, you sitting on down and describing what a successful year is going to look like for you. How are you going to define success? Each of us is going to define a successful year different, and each of my years, my definition of a successful year looks different. And I'm not talking about sitting on down and writing like a boring project plan, right, a 50-page boring project plan. I'm talking about having an off-site meeting with yourself at Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop or wherever you can think creatively and just dream. Get crystal clear about where you want to be in your business and in your life by the end of the year. So when I did this at the beginning of 2013, and I got, all comfy and all I was at a fabulous coffee shop here in Raleigh, and the pure purpose of that meeting with myself was to figure out where I want to be at the end of the year. And the way that I do it, I actually picture that, and I don't know if this is going to sound strange, but I picture like I'm having a future conversation with myself. Like I see myself, I see Claire at the end of the year, and I am just glowing. I am happy. I'm ecstatic. I feel like 2013 was absolutely wonderful. And for me, when I say that, that means that I've had a joyful, blessed, productive year. And then I'm just picturing what I would say, how I'm describing what my life looks like. Like I'll be describing what my business looks like at the end of 2013 and who I am as a businesswoman, like how I'm running my business, who I feel like as a businesswoman, how I look as a businesswoman, how competent and confident I feel as a businesswoman. And then I also do it with the other aspects of my life as well. When I create my Your Success Vision, there's 8 categories. So 2 are business-related, business and professional development. And professional development, I could think of either, again, that I'm growing in my competence or I'm just growing in my ability to run my business, more success habits. And then there's 6 of the other aspects of my life that I get really clear on, like my family and my relationships. What is that looking like? And health and wellness, what is that looking like? And finances, what is that looking like? Or personal growth, what's that looking like? And personal growth, how that's different from professional development, is personal growth is focused more on me as a woman, like my interests and hobbies. Maybe there's a dance class I've been wanting to do or take a pottery class or faith and inspiration. What is that looking like at the end of the year? And community and making a difference. Is this the year that I am fully going to volunteer and in Dylan's school? And so I get really clear, and I create about 3 descriptors in each of these 8 categories. So my Your Success Vision each year is 24 statements describing what my business is looking like and who I am as a businesswoman and the rest of my life. And many of us run on into the year without doing this. And you may be thinking, gosh, I know this, but you know what? We don't know it if we're not doing it. And you will find this one of the most joyful exercises in your business. And each year it gets easier and easier and easier. Every year, sit on down and figure out where the heck do I want to be? Because I'm going to tell you that if we don't sit on down, we're going to spend a lot of unnecessary energy and time throughout the year. Because if we're not crystal clear on where we want to be, we take a lot of wrong turns. We go down one-way streets. If we're like, gosh, I just have a general idea of where I want to be. I just know I want to make more money and gain more clients. That's very different than knowing, okay, I'm getting in my proverbial business car and I'm going down to 5400 Washington Street. You know exactly where you're going to go. Then you can get a really good idea of, okay, I'm going to make a right here and a left here. And it's not a one-size-fits-all to get to 5400 Washington Street, right? There could be Route 1, there could be Route 2, there could be Route 3, but really just thinking through where I want to be. Very simply is going to save you sanity throughout the year. All right, another success habit, this is actually the 6th success habit out of the total 30, is to find a way to connect emotionally to your success vision. So it's not enough just for me to have that document created, right, of the 24 statements. That's not enough. I want to keep coming back to that. So I am gaining that deep-seated belief that what I'm all about creating this year is a done deal. Like I see it as a done deal. I know all my focus and my energy is focused on making this success vision a reality. So finding some way, a key success habit is finding some way to emotionally connect every day, every other day, and be inspired and reminded about the year you're creating. And I'm sure you've heard strategies. I'm sure you've heard folks, you've been at those conferences and the individual on the stage is super successful and he or she may be sharing that she utilizes a strategy like this, affirmations. And you're probably like, well, I know it works for some folks. And finding some way, some strategy to do this. It's not a one-size-fits-all like some of the other success habits. It may be reading affirmations is powerful for you or writing them out. For me, I'm a firm believer in what I call audio affirmations. And I just do a free recording. I utilize a free tool called Audacity, which is Audacity, 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 download on my system, and I record it. And actually, the way I record it, I record those 24 statements that I say were my success vision. And it's very conversational. I'm just painting a picture of what life is going to look like at the end of the year. And then I have it as an MP3 file that's on my computer, that's on my phone, that's on a CD in my car. And just having it where it's easy to access, and every day, every couple of days, coming on back and getting, tunnel vision on what is it that I'm about this year. And let me focus my energies there. That is huge. So there's other strategies. You may have heard of affirmations, and you can Google that if you haven't heard of that. If any of you are thinking, yeah, Claire, I've heard of affirmations, it doesn't work for me. It's, my negative Nellie is super loud because she's like, you're right, Who are you fooling that you're making $6,000 a month? Sometimes when people say they listen to these affirmations and their negative Nellie's loud. For me, it's not loud because you know what? I know that the affirmations that I hear, I am real with myself that, there's a gap. There's a gap between where I'm at now and where I'm going to be at the end of the year. And, yeah, that's not my current reality, but it's the reality I'm working into throughout the year, and then I'll get there. So I just hush up my negative Nellie. But if your negative Nellie is really, really loud, affirmations is a great strategy. You actually ask yourself questions. It's great, especially if folks like to journal. You ask yourself a question, and your mind sort of goes into problem-solving mode. So you may say, why is it that I'm finding it so easy to find new clients? Why is it I'm finding it so easy to find new clients? And just start thinking, brainstorming. And be like, well, I'm pretty nice. I am offering a great service. The clients that worked with me before, they love me. They're wanting to continue with me. Your mind will go into that, so it really does start boosting up your confidence. Vision boards, I'm sure you've heard of vision boards, or mind movies. They've got apps for all of these things. If you want to Google mind movies, if you're more of a visual person. But regardless of which strategy, there is a strategy that can work for you. Then it's a matter of what? Creating it as a habit, where it's just something you don't even think about. Every day, every couple of days, you listen to it or you see it or you hear it or you read it, whatever format you use. Again, it's going to really give you that, I say tunnel vision. I don't want that to sound in a bad way, but it gives you complete focus on, because we can't do everything, ladies. We can't do it all. You've identified what a successful year looks like. Put your energies and your focus there on making that a reality instead of getting all sidetracked by everything else that we could be doing. Do what you said was most important to you for this year. All right, so that is another success habit. I'm actually going to open this up. Just wanted to see if there was any. No. Remember to go ahead. Feel free to be chatting. I'm just minimizing the chat window just so you can see the whole slides. But any questions that you're having throughout, please go ahead and I'll make sure to keep peeking in there. All right, so that's the success habit. Another success habit out of the 30 that I pulled out was success habit number 10. This is truly also going to help you increase your profitability, your productivity, and your peace of mind, is knowing your ideal client character. And you may or may not have heard of this concept before. And if you've heard of it, you may not have implemented it, because I see way too many women business owners still falling to the unproductive trap of marketing to anyone and everyone, because almost anyone and everyone could use their product or service and could benefit from their product and service. So we feel like we would be narrowing down our business too much if we identified and marketed directly to our ideal client. But I can tell you that that's furthest from the truth. It's furthest from the truth. I know that if I marketed to any women who had a business, that to me would be very overwhelming, because anyone with a business, they're hanging out all over. Their specific needs of growing a business is different. Oh my gosh. with a lot of your businesses, right? Maybe you sell organic, natural cleaning products. Well, you could think, well, anyone with a house or an apartment, and they're all over the place, right? Where are you going to market? And if you're just marketing to anyone and everyone, I can tell you your marketing time is not nearly going to be as effective because it's sort of a diluted message. You've got a sort of canned marketing message because you want to be able to be able to speak to anyone and everyone, versus when you know your ideal client character. So this individual right here, you probably saw her picture when you signed up for the webinar. I call her Overwhelmed Olivia. Your ideal client character actually even goes deeper than if you've heard of the concept of a target market. A target market, right, is a group of people who I am most meant to work with, who I want to work with, and who I believe can most utilize my service. My target market is broader. It is going to be women who are growing in-home businesses, anywhere between like 28 and 55 years old, anywhere in the United States. Okay, now my ideal client character, her over here, let me introduce you to her. Her name's Overwhelmed Olivia. She is 38 years old. She has 2 young children. She's a health coach. She lives in a different state than me. She's wanting to work her business while her kids are at school. So when I'm figuring out where to spend my limited marketing time, energy, and dollars so that I get the greatest bang for the buck with doing less marketing, less is more with marketing truly when you can really identify your ideal client. And for those of you who did not receive, I did a webinar 2 weeks ago on marketing with ease and authenticity. Maybe I'll actually go ahead and send out the replay because I know a number of the folks who signed up for this call are completely new to my community, so you probably didn't get the opportunity to do that. But that was a wonderful webinar where we really go deep into your ideal client and creating your marketing plan. But anyway, so this is Overwhelmed Olivia. So instead of me figuring out, okay, where do I find more clients, I figure out where is that I have a person in mind. She's a fictional person, but I have her in mind. And I say, where can I find more of her? Where is she hanging out, online and offline, where she'd be open to hearing my message? So ultimately, your ideal client, if you had the pick of the litter of the very next person who you work with, right after this webinar, your phone rings magically, ring, and they say, hey, hey, Susie, I've heard about you. I'd love to sign up for your next program, or I'd love to buy this product, or I'd love to join your team. How do I start working with you? And this individual is going to be a joy to work with. They're not going to be a drain. They're going to be a joy to work with. You know what? This person, they are already looking for a solution. They've already been Googling. They know they have an issue. They know they have a challenge. They know they have a problem they want solved. So you're not going to be in the convincing game. And you know what? They know they have an issue. They're looking for a solution. They're willing to pay for a solution. You're not going to have to be nickeling and diming. They're willing to pay. And because of whatever unique challenges or whatever it is that their needs are, you know that your product, your solution, your coaching, your program, your team, your organization, you know that this individual in particular is going to get great results. And that ultimately they're going to be a walking billboard for you. So you know what? Instead of needing to find more clients, find more of them. So I encourage you, again, especially if you didn't get to participate in the Marketing with Ease and Authenticity webinar, to listen to that and take the time. The sooner you can create your ideal client character and get clear, and it's not a magic thing, right? Sometimes it's an evolution and it's a process. I could tell you my ideal client character, the beginning of the year, she was actually here in the Raleigh area. And I spent the majority of my 80% of my marketing time was on the local community. But in my heart, I am at the point where I'm like, you know what, I want to do more and more things virtual. And there's so many Overwhelmed Olivias at the way that I've got my business model set up and the way I've been marketing that I'm not even visible to her. So Overwhelmed Olivia now is in another state for me. And she's also getting fine-tuned where it had been where she was in any type of business, like whether it was a direct sales and I'm just finding more and more joy working with folks who are growing something from scratch. They're growing their own thing. So a health coach, for example, or they're putting together their own programs, their own website, and their own brand, and their own pricing. And so my ideal client character, even though I've had her, very well formalized for the last year or so is changing. So know that. I mean, you just start somewhere, though. You figure out, okay, who do I think is going to be a joy to work with? Who do I think meets this ideal client character description? And just focus on finding more of them. All right, another success habit is, out of the 30, is number 14, which is to consistently work from your marketing plan. So this, again, is where those of you who didn't participate in that webinar, please watch that webinar. It hopefully it just gives you a great sense of relief that, oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't think it was so simple to put together a marketing plan. And great, I just focus on working this plan, right? I just focus on working this plan, and it less is more than with marketing. So instead of doing a little bit of everything where you're not fully utilizing everything, just have a plan and work the plan. Just 3 strategies. That's what I encourage my clients to do. Focus on 3 core marketing strategies and fully maximize those 3 strategies. And then really give yourself permission to put marketing blinders on. So to keep getting those 3 core strategies up and running and fully maximized. And if there's some, your friends, let's say creating a blog is not part of your marketing plan for now, and your friend's like, but you really should be creating a blog. You know what? Put your marketing blinders on and say, you know what? Not right now. I've got plenty to work into this marketing plan. Maybe 6 months from now, but right now, instead of just resist the urge to jump from strategy to strategy to strategy, because that's where so many of you are spending so much time and energy. We're going from thing to thing without fully utilizing a strategy. So just pick 3 and fully utilize them. So have a plan and work the plan. And the last out of those 5, and again, it's out of these 30 success habits, is habit number 26, keeping your 90-day goals front and center. And this is huge. So I talked about, the very first success habit was creating a crystal clear picture of where you want to be at the end of the year, your success vision. And so, again, there's a gap, right? There's a gap between where you're at the beginning of the year and where you want to be by the end of the year. And that gap, regardless, is going to create a feeling of uncomfortableness, right? Because we're not where we want to be. And you can choose how to alleviate that feeling of uneasiness. You either move forward on closing the gap, or you stay exactly still and you let your negative Nelly overtake you, and instead of how you close the gap is actually your dreams and your goals get smaller. So I choose not to stay still and let my dreams and goals get smaller, but I choose to close the gap by taking baby steps. Keep closing the gap from where I'm at to where I want to be. And what I do is every 90 days, every 3 months, I sit on down, and I say, now what? What can I do? What are some real deliverables that I can do over the next 3 months to close the gap? And what are my goals? And I generally have about 6 business goals between business and my professional development every 90 days. And that's what I focus on. And I just keep coming back to my goals during those 3 months. And I just say, okay, now what? What are the very next small steps I can take to move this goal to completion? Just like, what are the very next steps to nudge it forward? Because, ladies, that's what it's about. Consistent, focus, small steps, focus on closing the gap. That's going to get you where you want to go. Generally not needing to take these big, huge leaps. They're just small steps in the right direction, though. They're focused on you closing the gap, getting where you want to be. All right, so those are just some of the success habits that don't even necessarily deal with time management, but absolutely deal with time management, absolutely deal with the level of productivity and profitability and peace that we're getting from our business. All right, so now I want to get into a little bit more of the time management aspect. Let me actually just make sure there's no questions in the chat. Nope. Okay. Again, feel free to go ahead and chat on the right. Actually, I guess you can't chat. I wonder if you can't chat when I have this open or closed. I'm going to leave that open right now. I just don't want you to miss too much on the slides, but we're all good. So feel free. I don't know if when I eliminate that or minimize that if you don't see the chat. But anyway, let's talk about how some simple structure within your schedule can actually give you the freedom that you crave, that I know you crave. And again, I know this seems so counterintuitive for so many of us because, again, we're like, Claire, that's why I have my own business, right? I want freedom. I don't want structure. I want to be my own boss. I want, the complete flexibility. But ironically, when you can create some structure, it's going to give you that flexibility. But you decide the structure, right? You're not going to have a boss telling you when you've got to work and what you've got to do. You create the structure. You are the boss when it comes to that, right? Around what's going to feel right, but then stick to it. So first, I just want you to know, no matter how great you all are, because I know you're great, but we're not Wonder Woman, and we don't have to be Wonder Woman or Superwoman or whatever, because we can't do it all. We can't be all things to all people. And the sooner we can realize that and embrace it and be okay with it, the better. And I'm sure you know from, your own experience that when we put too much on our plate, what do? We feel like we're spread too thin. We feel like we're not doing anything exceptionally well. So you know what? Let's not do that. Instead, let's figure out what's most important to you, what's most important to us, and let's do those things well, which, of course, comes back to what? Your success vision. You figured out what was most important to you on your plate. And, there's going to be years, like you saw the category family and relationships, with friendships, and there's going to be years where there's so much going on in my life that I'm just going to maybe keep my good friendships going, but it may not be the year that I say yes to, book club invitations and bunko club invitations, and for me to be okay with that, right? Because I can't do it all. And if it wasn't part of my year's success vision, I'm okay with saying no to that. You're always going to have another opportunity for a bunko or a book club or some social gathering. Then there's going to be years where that's going to be super important, right? Maybe I just moved to a new location, or I'm just like, gosh, where do all my really great close girlfriends go? And that may be the year where I am reaching out, and those would be the years. And yes, I'll be saying yes to those opportunities. Or if you looked at my success vision this year, it is real important. My son's only in second grade, and I love volunteering in his classroom on Fridays and being, the room parent. And for me, that is important, and that's one of my big rocks. That's one of where I schedule those opportunities in my calendar. And to be my husband and I are his coach we coach his basketball league, and all that stuff's important. It's part of my success vision. Now, in a year or two, that may not be part of it, right? I may be leaving all those opportunities and those blessings to volunteer to the other moms and dads, and to be okay with that. But that's why it's so important for each year for me to figure out, what do I want on my plate this year? What is going to be important this year? What is going to be able to create this joyful, blessed, productive year? So instead of feeling like we're spread too thin, again, let's figure out what's most important to us, and let's do those things exceptionally well. So it starts with figuring out what are your big rocks. And I'm sure you've heard of this concept from Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he talks about those big rocks. If you can keep this visual in mind, it's very, very powerful that most of us live in this reactive mode, right, and we fill our lives with sand. So if you look at that glass container, you could imagine that if you filled it up with sand, which is all, the busy stuff and just all the invitations we get for this and for that, and just responding to life and reacting, if you filled that glass container with sand, and then you tried to put in those big rocks, those things you say are important to you, like working big parts of your business, your health and exercise, time with your husband and date night, what happens is that glass is filled with sand, and there's no room for the big rocks. And we just say, I just don't have time for exercise. I'm sorry, but every single one of us has time for exercise. If it's really important to us, we just got to figure out when, right? When can I fit this big rock that it's going to be most enjoyable for me? Because we could put those big rocks in our schedule first. We're going to have plenty of, then you pour the sand over it, there's going to be plenty of room. The sand is going to go all into those nuggets. But if we don't put the big rocks in first, we might never get to them. And that's where so many of us are at. We might never get to them. So I'm going to encourage you to create your own success routines for those big rocks. Create some success routines. Create some personal success routines for health and wellness, or your personal responsibilities, or your self-care. And I'm actually going to show you I'm going to show you an example of my schedule and my themes and some of my success routines. And also creating what are those big rocks in your business and creating those business routines. How you kick off the day, how you start your day, giving themes to your days. So I'm going to be showing you that as well. So by creating that structure, figuring out what are those big rocks and actually scheduling them into your calendar, which again I'm going to show you as I get into this calendaring technique, it is going to give you that freedom you crave. It's going to give you more time. So let's embrace structure. I mean, I could tell you I've always been one of those, go with the flow. People wouldn't think I was very, planful. I'm not one that goes on vacation and, we just go with the flow. But I have seen how just a little bit of simple structure in my business and in my life, oh my gosh, what a difference it has made. All right, so let's talk about this calendaring technique that I was talking about that I say can easily save hours and hours in your week. And I first want to let you know that regardless of what you may have heard, that money does grow on trees. It truly grows on trees. And I remember this is like a year or so ago, my son was like, Mommy, Grandpa said that he has a money tree, and I believe him, and Grandma says that, he's just joking, but I really believe Grandpa. And I was like, well, when you find that money tree, you let me know. But in our business, money does grow on trees. You have your very own money tree. It's just figuring out what are those branches of your money tree and making sure that you're spending the majority of your working hours on watering your money tree. Because I can tell you that your financial success can absolutely be tied back to where you're spending your time. Like if I had installed these little cameras on all of you all for the last couple of weeks and I've been following you around and I've been seeing where you've been spending your time, and when you're working, I've been looking to see what you've been working on and how you've been working. Your financial success is absolutely tied back to where you're spending your time. So it's not about spending more time in your business. Like I said, my passion is working when Dylan is at school. So it's not about working more. It's about figuring out how many hours a week do I have to devote to my business, and let me be planful about my calendar so that I'm spending the majority of my time watering my money tree, spending the majority of my time on my money earning activities, 80% of my time on money earning, and 20% of the time on the administrative behind the scenes, emails, learning, organizing my desk again, getting ready to get ready, rearranging my inventory. I would guess that many women business owners have that flipped. They're spending 80% of the time getting ready to get ready, reorganizing their office, cleaning their office again, and not on their money tree. So here's a quick and dirty picture of your money tree. And your money tree, let me get my little drawing tools out here. This is your money tree. All right, and it's going to have 3 branches. There's a power of 3. We can focus and do 3 things incredibly well. 1 branch, 2 branches, and 3 branches. Every single one of us, our money tree is going to look different. I'm actually going to show you my money tree. But regardless of your business, I would 100% encourage that one of these branches be your marketing plan. So again, if you didn't watch that webinar, your marketing plan, spending it on your marketing plan, and then these are leaves. So you've got 3 leaves coming off of each of them. These are going to be your 3 core marketing strategies. So for me, I grow my business by live networking. I'm part of a couple of live networking groups, by online social media, like my Facebook page, and by increasing my expert status through speaking, through webinars, through training videos. And then figure out what are your other 2 branches. Now, when I was a Mary Kay sales director, 1 branch should have been marketing, right? Meeting people and booking skincare classes and one-on-one makeovers. My 2nd branch would have actually been holding those appointments, which the leaves could have been like hosting or coaching my hostesses and making sure people knew where to go when, actually the time physically holding the appointments, and then appropriate follow-up and customer service after that appointment. And then my 3rd branch in that business was building a team, right? So maybe sharing the opportunity one-on-one, doing interviews and building a team, getting someone off to a great start, and being there with ongoing leadership and training for my team. That could have been my money tree with my Mary Kay business. Let me actually erase all of that. And sorry, here we go. Bring that back large. Okay, so let me show you my money tree. This is my money tree right now. This is my handwritten, scanned-in version. So, again, I'd love to go ahead and do the little drawings. I hope I don't mess up the screen again, but it'll be okay. So this is my money tree. Oh, it's not working. That's okay. All right, so my money tree, one of my branches, again, is working my marketing plan. Like I said, live networking, online networking on social media, and increasing my expert status. So time doing webinars like this, putting together my videos, time at a live networking event, having one-on-ones, doing my social media posts, interacting with people on my Facebook page. That is one of my branches. Another branch in this current business is designing and revising my programs. So actually designing new training programs and new coaching programs. When I'm tweaking and improving my current offerings, and when I'm researching and learning new content for ways that I'm going to structure my programs. So all of that, designing and revising my coaching and my training programs, is a branch. The third branch is actually time delivering training and coaching. So when I'm doing my one-on-one calls with my clients, when I'm in front of a group and presenting, when I'm doing these webinars, this is watering my money tree. So I, again, want to spend 80% of my time watering my money tree. And this goes hand in hand, so I'm just going to ease on into what's called calendar blocking. And calendar blocking is a calendaring technique that you may or may have heard of, and it may sound, like I am being a little bit dramatic when I say that this can truly be life and business changing. But ladies, this can truly be life and business changing. Not simply knowing the concept, but actually living the concept. Getting it up and running in a calendar blocking system that works for you. But I've got to have a caveat here that it can take time to find the schedule that works for you. And I'm going to actually show you my calendar blocking, and I'm going to show you how in the last year my calendar blocking, my schedule has broken twice. And I'll tell you why, and that could happen, and then you just fix it. And a lot of times it's breaking for a good reason. But know that when your calendar and your schedule feels out of whack, fix it. So what I'd encourage you to do right now is just start working hard on finding a schedule and a calendar blocking that you think can work for you. Start growing into it and then tweaking it as need be. So again, feel free to go ahead and be chatting on the right-hand side any specific questions you have about this or calendar blocking. I keep sort of minimizing it just so that you're able to see the slides. All right, so schedule a whole bunch of things into your calendar. First of all, again, like I've been sharing that webinar that we did 2 weeks ago, Marketing with Ease and Authenticity, where you can actually see what a marketing plan looks like. Gave you an example, and it was pretty much my marketing plan. My 3 core marketing strategies, and then you saw like my 25 to 30 ongoing marketing activities. So the first thing I want to do is those ongoing marketing activities that I'm committed to doing to grow my business, I want to block it out on my calendar. I just don't want it to happen willy-nilly. If I'm going to write a blog post every week, what day of the week am I going to write it? Is it going to be Mondays from 1 to 2? Let me block it out on my calendar. Get it out there. Block it out as dedicated time every week. Am I going to be doing 3 to 5 social media posts on my Facebook page? Well, when am I going to sit down and write those posts? Well, it's going to be on Monday. When am I going to do that? Let me block it out on my calendar. So getting your ongoing marketing activities on your calendar blocked out is going to be step number 1. The second thing is, after you've identified your money tree, and I'm going to encourage that you ladies, you come back and watch this webinar again and pause it at the money tree. So again, don't let this be just training. Let's actually implement what you're hearing on this free webinar. So figure out what your money tree is going to be. And I've already told you what one of the branches are going to be, right? What are the other 2 branches going to be? So you know that my other branches was time for me to actually write content, and time for me to and update my content and actually time with my clients. So that's key, is that when I look at my calendar, I want to figure out dedicated time to work on those other two branches. And then you just sort of see, okay, what are those key activities that I do in my business, and how can I group like activities together? Activities that it just makes sense. I'm in the flow. And it's not an activity where you run and do an errand, and then you go, make a booking call, and then you go hold an appointment, and you're like all over the place. And then you're like, gosh, yeah, I did 3 important things. But if it was a specific day where you were just out doing errands, or you just were doing your booking calls, or when you can group like activities together, the gift of momentum you give yourself is huge, huge. And then again, when you're looking at your calendar, what do you want to do? You want to say, okay, am I scheduling a way that I'm going to be spending 80% of my working hours on watering my money tree? So if I work my business about 20 hours a week, I actually work probably about 30 hours a week, but let's say I work 20 hours a week, then 80% of that, 16 hours would be spent on working my marketing plan, creating and revising content, one-on-one time with my clients. So 16 of those hours is on watering my money tree, and 4 hours is on my non-money earning activities, my email, planning, the finances of my business, all of that, learning. All of that sounds critical, right? All of it's critical. We just want to figure out how to streamline it so that I'm only spending 4 hours a week or so on those non-money earning activities. So, again, be thinking about things that you do in a regular week that you can group together. Like, can all of your networking be done on one day? And that may take some, real scheduling and being creative, but that's what I have is it on one day. Or maybe following up with leads or phone calls. And you may hear different schools of thought here. Some may say, make 5 booking calls a day. And if that works for you, great. I'm all about grouping it, so maybe Thursdays is the day where you're doing your phone calls, because you can imagine you can really get in the groove, and you get better and better with those calls, and you get them all done. And you know what? Then you don't have guilt on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday about not following up with so-and-so, because you're going to do that on Thursday. You're going to do that on that day. Or a day where you do all your planning, your administrative stuff, or writing. Your dedicated time to write your blog post or your social media post, or errands. So Friday is my errands day. That's also my personal appointments day if I'm going to get my hair cut or massage. And so when I'm out and about on Friday, I'm going to hold my errands to then instead of throughout the week. So if I need new ink, let me get my new ink on Friday and know that I'm going to do it, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm out of ink and I got to run to the store, and we're wasting so much time doing that. All right, I don't want you ladies to get overwhelmed. Let me explain this diagram here. This is actually where I thought through on paper what my ideal week and my calendar blocking could look like, and my themes. And this is my current schedule. Again, I just told you that my schedule in the last month has become broken, so I'll be redoing it. But you'll also see in blue, that's my non-money earning day. That's my administrative day. That's my 20% of my time. The rest, the green, is my work, my money earning time, watering my money tree. My yellow is like all of the big rocks, those important rocks in my life that are not business related, that if I didn't think through when I was going to get them done, they most likely would not get done. So again, Monday is my planning day, my learning day, my own personal day. My client days are Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when I'm on my one-on-one calls with my clients. That's when I'm doing my webinars for my paid services. Wednesday is my networking day. That's when I have a morning weekly networking group. That's when I lead my own networking group over lunch. I do my one-on-ones on Wednesday. Friday morning I work, and Friday afternoon it's completely my time. It's flexible work time. It's normally when I hold time for my personal errands and appointments. Now, it took a little while to get into this schedule. I could tell you that it used to be that my planning day, when I planned out the week, and which I loved that day, it used to be on a Friday, and I loved it. I'd go to the coffee shop, but what I found was that Friday, things kept coming up on Fridays. Maybe we were going out of town for the weekend and we left early on Fridays. Or down here in North Carolina, my son goes to year-round school. So he goes to school 9 weeks, and then he's off 3 weeks. He goes 9 weeks and off 3 weeks. And they also have what's called early release once a month, and it'll be on Friday. So he'd get out of school at 12:45. So it kept being that my planning meetings, which I call my Sanity meetings, were getting kicked to the wayside. So it was real important that I changed the date. Plus, it used to be that networking days, my networking meetings were on Monday. But you know what? I always had that in the back, and it was a very busy day for me. It was a great day on paper, but I'd always had that in the back of my mind on Sunday, being like, oh, I've got so much to do tomorrow. So you know what? I changed it, and I found new groups. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, right? I loved my groups. I told my group I'm going to need to find a group that meets on a different day. The group that I was leading for 2 years on Monday made the hard decision. We're going to change it to Wednesday. So you got to make those hard decisions. You are the boss of your own schedule. You are the boss. Yes, absolutely. I'll make a note that when I send out the recording, I'll actually send this actual example of my calendar so you can see it. Now, when I talk about the big rocks, like in the morning, I was always finding, you know what, I didn't have time to exercise or time for my Bible study. Those are my big rocks. So I actually did what? I created a personal success habit. That at 6 o'clock in the morning when my alarm goes off, I don't think about it. I just know I go do my workout DVD, and then I know which chair to go sit into for my Bible study and my book's there. It's just on auto drive. And I do it before Dylan even gets on up in the morning. So I thought through those big rocks, or in the evening. You know, it's important for me to love enjoying home-cooked meals, like healthy meals. So I blocked out that time where it's dedicated time. And it's important for me and my husband just to get some R&R time. So I don't have everything scheduled here, like, you know, shower and brush my teeth. Those things are going to happen regardless. But if I don't figure out when am I going to get these big rocks scheduled into my calendar, you know what I was finding? That I was filling my life up with sand and not getting to these big calendars. So, yes, I will absolutely send out this example as well. But calendar block. Oh, now I just said how it's broken. My business is busting at the seams right now, which is a great thing. But I found that Tuesdays and Thursdays, I simply do not have enough time for my one-on-one coaching calls. So I'm going to be adjusting it. I'm giving up live networking. My Wednesday, so I've just told my 2 groups, again, the group that I've been leading, but I'm getting back in control of my calendar. I'm needing to be in the office. I'm choosing to be in the office for another day for my sanity. So again, a lot of times our calendar can break because of a good thing. But anytime it's out of sync, come on back to this. You're the boss. Create your schedule. And I know it's going to take some time. It takes discipline and time to really grow into this. It takes discipline for you to have this schedule and to be the best employee ever, like actually work the schedule. You know, and I know that not every week's ideal. It's not. But I keep coming back to working into this ideal week, and it gives such sanity. Oh, my gosh. So, again, it takes time to grow into it. Your schedule can be broken, but just keep reminding yourself that you are building your business around your life, not the other way around. You're not fitting your life in around your business. So create a schedule and themes that you enjoy. All right, so real quickly, I just want to let you know this managing your time and productivity, this is just part of the story, of course, for running a business, right? And that there are, like I said at the very beginning, there's 30 success habits. And I wanted just to quickly give you an invitation. We're going to actually dive deep into the success habits and implement the success habits in our upcoming 6-month group coaching and accountability program. It's called 6-Figure Success Habits. It kicks off October 3rd. It kicks off on Thursday. And we are going to go in depth in all of this. In depth and get these things up and running. Your success vision, gaining a winning mindset, hushing up that negative Nelly so you can get where you want to go. Planning out your business. How do you figure out where you're going to be in your business a year from now? How do you break that down each quarter, each day, so you know what to be working on? How do you identify your ideal client? Your marketing, creating your marketing plan, getting that up and running. Your keep in touch strategies. Figuring out your right keep-in-touch strategies, getting these systems up and running and in place. We're going to be talking about all of this, right? Creating your own success calendar. So you're building your business while maintaining your sanity. We're going to go in-depth into productivity, utilizing David Allen's Getting Things Done philosophy. How do you feel organized with all of these, commitments coming at us? Getting your basic money management systems up and running in your business. And then we're going to figure out what other systems and outsourcing and automation so your business can run like a well-oiled machine. So again, it's a six-figure Success Habits program. You get access to, I broke down the whole content into these mini little training modules called mile markers so that it's not overwhelming. And then as a group, there's going to be no more than 20 in the group so I can give personalized attention. And there's going to be every other week, there's an hour-long group webinar where we're going to dive deep into content, going to see what questions you have. And then this is the only group program where you actually have one-on-one access to me. So you'll have access to 12 30-minute one-on-one phone coaching calls. So 2 calls a month where it's all going to be about you, getting me these things up and running, seeing where you're stuck. Then as a group, all 20 of you will be over the private Facebook group where you'll be able to encourage and support and motivate each other. And then once you graduate, in 6 months, you're actually then be transitioned to the free Business Makeover Academy, which is a private Facebook group only for prior graduates. It's a fabulous place for you to continue to refine these success habits, continue to get stronger and stronger, and it's just a wonderful free add-on. And I'm giving a special webinar savings because I know many of you are just hearing about me and hearing about this program right now. So actually, let me move this over so you can see this slide. On the website right now, it's $897 paid in full or $167 a month for 6 months. But until just this Monday, since you all are just hearing about this on the webinar now, just until Monday, I'm actually going to give you a savings code where instead of $897, it will be only $697 or only $127 a month for 6 months. So those are the other codes. And you're also, just with this special webinar code, get these 3 extra bonuses. And the first bonus I'm so beyond excited about, where you would actually get 5 free hours of marketing implementation support, your very own virtual assistant, to actually help you get these things that you're learning up and running and implement in your business. Ladies, that is huge, 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 huge. You're also going to get a 90-minute business strategy session with me to kick off the program. So in addition to your one-on-one calls, this is really to springboard your success, get you there faster. We're going to do that to kick it off the program. And you're also going to get a 90-minute recorded webinar on profiting with Facebook. So those are some extra bonuses just for this webinar. Again, it's not listed on the web page. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about how do you get more done in less time? How do you have more time to enjoy life, which is really everything that we've been talking about. But I want to leave you with this. Ladies, life is just going to keep coming at us faster and faster. The speed just keeps increasing, and that's the reality, right? You're going to feel more and more like this lady on the right. It's the reality, but you know what? Find a solution. There are lots of tried and tested models out there for organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all, but you know what? Find one that works for you, and let's just start implementing it. Let's start making it our own. The sooner, the better. The one that I love and the one that I teach my clients is Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's a book you can get. Go to Amazon, get it at your local library. But essentially, it's a work and life. It's your whole entire life. It's a system to transform the overwhelm into a system of stress-free productivity. Ultimately, in a nutshell, it's about capturing all the things that need to get done. Maybe someday I'd like to read this book, things that are nagging at us that right now we're either keeping in our mind or on sticky notes or lots of different notebooks or sheets of paper, getting it in one central trusted system outside of our head so that we know what the heck to be working on and things are handy and we can get our hands on them. And secondly, disciplining ourselves to take action, to look at something, an email or a sheet of paper and say, do I need to do anything with this? And if so, what are those actions? And the most important thing, well, all of it it's a 5-step process, but he talks about what's called the weekly review meeting. And this transformational productivity process, it really only works when you trust your system, right? When you trust that the all-inclusive list is all-inclusive and it's up to date. And you're really able to do that through what David Allen calls his weekly review meeting. So that's what I do on Monday mornings. I love my Mondays. It's my planning day. In the afternoon, it's my learning time. But I call it my sanity meetings, And if I don't do a weekly review meeting, there's limited peace that week, truly. But ultimately, real high level, and then we're going to wrap it up. What I would do during that weekly review meeting, I'm going to do a brain dump. Is there anything miscellaneous stuff floating in my mind? Do a purse dump. Have I been picking up business cards and receipts? All the unprocessed papers that may be on my desk, throw it onto a physical inbox. I just have one little inbox. And then I just go through bit by bit and empty the inbox. And then I wrap things up. I look at my calendar last week. Is there any remaining things for me to do? Oh, yeah, let me send so-and-so a thank you card. Or prepare for the upcoming couple of weeks. I look at the landscape of my calendar the next week or two and jot down, okay, what are those things I need to do to be prepared for that? I get my email inbox down to 0. So we talk about that. How do you actually process an email inbox? Not be a slave to your email inbox, but how do you actually process it? And then what I do is my all-inclusive master list of to-dos, which I keep in one central tool that I love. I love this online system that I use. All of that, I just pick 3. I'm going to do a heck of a lot more that week, but I pick 3 what I call my weekly commitments. Because I look at my next actions list or my to-do list, almost like a wish list, right? It's not, a lot of times those things are not going to get done unless you figure out when the heck are you going to do it. So I pick at least 3 next actions, 3 little next steps, 3 little small steps, and I figure out when am I going to do that this week, what day and time. I block it out on my calendar. That is my Sanity meeting. It's huge, huge, huge. So those are some things we talked about, right? Some success habits in your business that you may not even have thought related at all to time management. Also talked about some simple structure. I'm going to be seeing if there's any other questions out here on the right-hand side too. Figuring out what those big rocks are and scheduling them in your calendar. We talked about identifying your money tree and calendar blocking, which is transformational, ladies. And we talked about the sooner the better, finding a productivity model that you think is going to work for you and just start implementing it. Start making it your own. And check out, if you don't know where to start, check out David Allen's Getting Things Done. And last but not least, again, go ahead and chat on the right-hand side if you have any questions. But again, I'm going to be sending out the recording. I'm going to be sending out I'll do it as an Excel spreadsheet, my example of calendar blocking for you. And I'm also, like I said, since so many of the folks who signed up for the call are so new to me and the community, that's why I decided to offer this, and that's why I decided to offer the webinar savings. So I'll send you out the code. But I'm also going to block out time on my calendar on Monday, since the deadline ends on Monday at midnight, and the program kicks off on Thursday. I'm going to send you a link with some times on my calendar if you wanted to talk just for 15 minutes, no obligation at all. If you had any questions about the program, whether it even makes sense for you, I am opening up my calendar for you. So, all right, ladies, it doesn't look like there's any other questions on the right-hand side, but feel free when I send you out the recording, if you thought of any questions in the meantime, just go ahead and hit reply. Let me know what questions you have about maintaining your sanity while you're growing your business. And again, I just appreciate you spending your hour with me. And I'll be sending that out within the next hour. So I'd love to chat on Monday. I would absolutely love to have you in the program on Thursday. And I will talk with you ladies soon. Take care. Bye.